It's the Ginge Show.
Welcome to the Ginge Show. Lucas Ross, one of my oldest and best friends in the entire world. So yesterday, you are my first person that I'm having on here digitally, which is a necessity going forward because if I get any, major celebrities as opposed to the minors.
Oh, in addition to this? What do you mean if you? What do you mean if? I'm glad to try you. I'm glad that you can test it out with mediocre me.
Well,
golly.
We did have about 45 minutes yesterday where we tried to do this and we learned some, and now here we are doing the real interview.
Yeah, I thought it went really good yesterday, and I'm not so confident in myself today.
I was cracking up when I got your audio file back yesterday and it had a click track in it. I thought
you didn't want that.
I wasn't like, that would be, imagine if somebody had to watch this whole thing and it was like, so Lucas and I knew each other from a college recruiting group that we were in called Lighten Up.
Yeah, man.
So for anybody that doesn't exactly know what that means, we went to church camps and talked kids into coming to our college. I mean, right? That was essentially the goal.
Man, it was just I wanted to perform and I wanted to find a way to not have to move back home during the summer. And so that was an option of like, I literally didn't make any money, but I didn't lose any money because we got to live at the school pretty much all summer long and got a small scholarship for compared to how much it cost to go there. But it was a great experience. And you learn a whole lot about obviously for a lot of reasons that we'll probably dive into, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, we're going to get to some of those reasons.
The life that took me on, but yeah.
So the thing about it that I remember the most, and I've thought about it so many times throughout my life, I really thought we were famous at that point. I think in my mind, we were signing autographs. But later, I've realized that signing an autograph for an 11-year-old, it turns out it doesn't make you like full-blown famous.
You know what? I'm going to say, because I've graduated to local celebrity from camp celebrity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's nothing. No, it is special.
Absolutely.
But boy, it was fun to play rock star, and the kids just played along with it too because they didn't know who we were before we showed up on that campus.
Yeah, no way.
And then they felt like they did afterwards, and we sure as anything thought that we were something by the time we left.
That's right. But I can remember one of the other groups, the summer singers, coming through when I was at church camps, and I definitely thought they were rock stars. So I get it. So it was me, you, our friend Cameron, and then your future wife, Aubrey. And wow, I'm seeing some of the pictures right now. I will get some of those in this podcast. So
you say my future wife. She's also my current wife now, but at the time, my future wife.
Yes. This is, I think, the only relationship that I have seen going truly from friends to married and have kids. I don't think I've ever seen the transition of that like this, but I could see it from your side from the beginning. And I'm going to just throw this out there. I was not sure you had a chance at the beginning.
Well, I didn't either.
Yeah,
that's why I was so nervous. Well, first off, so the first year that we did this recruiting group called Lighten Up, it was you and I did not mesh well together. I was
not right away.
It was constant friction because of, I don't know, I was just a brat. I had these grandiose views of what comedy was, and I set out to do like a Tenacious D duo show, and that was where it kind of started. And then Bob, your uncle, my father-in-law and Aubrey's dad, he kind of saw this opportunity, kind of meshed it all together and stuff. So we had the music aspect and things like that. And Bob had a history of starting this, being one of the original summer singers, and his work with the school and stuff. But the first summer, I was dating somebody else. Aubrey was engaged to somebody else. I remember the night, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but I remember the night that like you were like, "Hey, you idiot, she likes you, and if you don't like her back, then just let her know because I'm tired of that. You did it purely out of your own selfishness. You weren't trying to help me. You weren't playing Cupid. You were annoyed at the fact that Aubrey was being upset because I was continuing to be with this other girl after she had broken off with her. She'd broken her engagement. And I adored her as a friend.
Yes.
And I really thought she was amazing. But I had just decided, like, this is not an option. I was coming up on the 1 year anniversary of dating that person. And you were helping me record. Do you remember this? You were helping me record a song for her, and that's what I was going to give to her on our. It was, and also selfish. I was just wanting to
completely forgotten.
You had that little sound mixer from Bob, and it was selfish. I just wanted to record something, and so I recorded this song, and I was more excited to play it for Aubrey and let her hear it because I knew she'd appreciate the music and stuff like that. And it was 2 days before what would have been mine and this girl's 1 year anniversary, and so I played the song for Aubrey and you, and she just sat there looking down and didn't even like look up at me the whole time. And I was so excited to hear what she thought. And then she just got up and walked out and left.
I do remember that for the record.
And I was like, what is wrong with her? And I was almost kind of like offended. And you said, "You idiot, she's in love with you." But it immediately
turned
turned
really
from
how I said it word for word.
Pretty much. You said, can't you see that she's in love with you? And listen, I'm just going to tell you this. And if you don't like her back, that's fine. But stop hurting her feelings. And I'm frankly tired of hearing her complain about it. That was really your.
I was such a good cousin and friend back then. I forgot about that.
Jay, I do owe this to you because of that. We talked that night, and I said, "Well, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it like that." And you said, "Well, if you could see yourself with somebody else other than who you're with, that should tell you enough, whether it's Aubrey or anybody else." And it gave me a whole lot to think about. It was after midnight, and I opened up my little school laptop, and I wrote an email to Aubrey that I would not send her for a year. But in it, I told her that I loved her and that I was going to marry her. It just made sense. And I did. I said it right then and there, and I knew it. I didn't tell her this for a long time. I went over the next day, first thing in the morning, and I broke it off with my girlfriend, and it was awful. I hated it, what that is. But anyway.
Yeah, it was
all that
truly...
to say, I owe you.
Thank you.
Doggone it.
Wow, that was so nice. And you talked about that we clashed at the beginning, and I would agree with that, but it is mostly because you and I are so alike. Because both of us...
I was threatened by you a lot.
Same. I think it was completely a contest between who was funnier, who was the better musician, who was more whatever. And you and I just had a complete upward, closer, better friends, closer to right now, where even though we are physically not close, we are, the love in our heads is close. Right? Wasn't that beautiful?
That was beautifully said. Just kind of like the night you said, "Listen, you idiot, she likes you." And we're coming up on, we've been married for 19 years now.
Wow, 2 kids. So it really worked out very well. So when we go back to you and I's kind of competitive beginning part of our relationship, a very important story that I remember is I went out to California with my family, okay? And I went to see David Letterman. And when the show opened, we were in the front, 6, 7 chairs.
Can I correct you on that?
Sure.
Wait, did you say New York? Or did you say...
No, it was California.
So that was Jay Leno. David Letterman records in New York, or he recorded in New York. You saw Jay Leno.
Okay, so we saw Jay Leno. I agree with you. So I went to see Jay Leno. You are correct about that. That is in California. We were in the rest of the story is correct. We were in the first 6 or so rows when it does this big pan into him at the beginning for him to do his monologue. They very specifically told us not to turn around to the cameras. Well, I did it.
Did you see your head? You see the back of your head on the screen.
Yes, you sure do.
Look.
So I turned around and kind of gave one of these, and we all thought that was so cool. And it was like, that was my big time to one-up you. And then you went to California, I don't know, a month later, something like that.
It was closer than that.
It was
like
2 weeks
week
or something,
so.
Right? Okay. And then, so Lucas goes 2 weeks later, and Jay Leno pulls him on stage during the monologue.
Let me tell you something, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, but so I didn't want to go to the Tonight Show because I wanted to go be on The Price is Right. the people that we went to visit said, "Oh, they're not taping Price is Right. You want to go to the Tonight Show?" We're waiting in line, and we got there kind of late. They're like, he's like, "I can take 2." And I was like, "Hey," well, they saw Aubrey, I'm sure, and they assumed this beautiful blonde woman had other friends that looked like her. And they're like, "Hey, do you have somebody?" And she turns to me, and he looks at me and is like, "Okay, fine." So they walk us in, and then we keep going further and further down, until we're on the very front row. And I'm already thinking about you, Jay. I was like, oh. Even though we got along at this point,
no, it was a constant
like,
effort to one-up each other on some level. This is just a battle that you won big time. Okay,
well,
go on.
I got to tell you this, though.
It is, okay.
And I don't know that if I ever told you this, but I remember when you were describing this, I remember you telling me your whole story about how they'll come out and a lady asked if she could take a picture with him, and they had a Polaroid and they took a picture. So I was like, okay, that. So there must have been guests that didn't come, okay? And so they had something taped off. There were 2 seats right in the front, right in the middle. They have Jay come out, and he does a little crowd work and get you to like him, so that way you think you like him when he comes out to do his show. Before all this happened, the guy comes out to kind of tell us, that works the audience, is kind of a comedian, tells you how things are going. And he tells us this thing, and I remember you talking about how you said, "Don't turn around, look at the camera, because we will cut away from you because nobody wants to." So he gets up there and he starts to say this thing. So I'm already thinking in my head, okay, we're on the front row. Do not ever look at the camera, and you have a better chance of them staying on you longer. I'm editing this in my head. He comes out and he says, all right, now listen, whenever Jay comes out and you see him, you're going to see the backs of your heads, especially you down here in front. And you're going to want to turn around and look into the camera. But don't do it because we'll cut away. Mm-hmm. In fact, just a couple weeks ago, some big goofy guy, as soon as he saw his big head on the TV, turned around and went, and he acted out. And
Are you being
and I
serious?
looked at each other. Have I never told you this?
If you have, I forgot it.
He acted it out, and he went, and he said, and Aubrey and I looked at each other and we're like, "That's Jay!"
I do not. If you've told me, I do not remember this. That's incredible.
Isn't that great? And I could have been like, "I know that guy." Anyway, he asked if anybody had questions, and a woman said, "Can I take a picture with you?" She went down. So after that, he's like, "Anybody else have a question?" So I was on the front row, so I was like, yeah, you. I was like, "Can I take a picture?" He's like, "Come up here." He's like, where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from Oklahoma. My parents are beekeepers." Like, it was just in my brain.
That's incredible. And
he's like, "Your parents are beekeepers. What are you doing here?" I was like, "How long have you been in LA? You look like, have you joined a gang yet?" And I was like, yeah, I joined 2 of them. He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, what are you going to do out here?" I was like, "I'm going to study film," because it was the next year I was going to be an intern. I was like, "I'm going to go into film." He's like, "Oh, your parents are beekeepers. You're going to go into bee movies?" Like, that was his big joke. He's like, "Okay." So we took this picture. I sat down. But I had this thing in the back of my head that, like, man, Jay's going to, like, interact with me somehow. I don't know. I just felt like it. Like this.
No, I get it. When it happened, I just thought, of course this would happen to Lucas. What am I going to have to do to overcome this?
Well, during the monologue, Jay has a little dull spot, and he's like, "Hey, we got a man here from Oklahoma, Kev. He's going to go. He's a beekeeper. Let's bring him up on stage." And he's like, "Look at this guy. Look at this. Hey, Kevin, how long do you think this guy's going to last in L.A.? I give him 3 nights. Okay, well, show your parents you're alive and sit back down. Okay, And then that was it. Everybody cheered. And so the whole shot of me, there's a shot of me going, I was like, oh, I don't know why. I did this like finger. If you go back and watch the video, you see me like, "Oh, Jay, you got me." And I just played it up, and they kept the camera on me, and I was like, 10 seconds.
You did
20
it.
seconds. And I'm thinking in my head, take that, Jay. Lashley.
Yep.
No.
Got a man here from Oklahoma, Kev.
Oh, yeah, where's he at?
Come out here to go to school. Beekeeper.
Beekeeper?
Where's it? Where's Scott? I want to be Scott. There's my man. Hold on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Kev. How many nights are you going to last in L.A.? Maybe 3 nights in L.A.? All right, well, good luck. I just want your parents to see you're still alive. There you go. Okay, go ahead. Take a seat back down there, buddy. There you go. There you go.
So that was absolutely incredible. You, that was a time that you one-upped me for sure.
Oh.
Now tell me this. You were the first person that I knew that could work Photoshop. And it's wild because I look at that now and think, well, of course it existed at that time, but our campus was innovative in the sense that in 2000 to 2004, every student had a laptop and we had Wi-Fi. It's crazy that seems
provided to us. Yeah.
Innovative but at that point, it really was. It was an IBM ThinkPad with the little round button in the middle, which seems weird, but actually worked very well. Your ability on Photoshop at the time was absolutely mind-blowing to me.
Well, that's just shows that you didn't know much about, because there were people.
I didn't. Well, what was so incredible specifically is that in one of the Lighten Up pictures, Cameron, I think it was him, was looking off at whatever, and
it was always Cameron. He couldn't. He could never. He was blinking. He'd always blink.
My wife is exactly the same. Even in this new era, I am not exaggerating. 75% of the pictures of her eyes are closed. It's like there's literally some type of a sensor. So he was looking wrong, whatever, and you photoshopped a different picture of his head. That was truly like you did some kind of a magic trick.
I'm sure it seemed at the time like I really did something impressive, but now you could probably see the cutout and how like poor I could do it so much better now.
Well, and truly you could probably do that on an iPhone in 1 minute. Yeah, exactly. But at the time it was mind-blowing, and you did make the album cover for the Jay Lashley and the Rockers CD, which
I did
was my first band.
I did, and I found one of those recently.
One of the most amazing things that you have done, you ended up in a Martin Scorsese movie. That's just that's absolutely mind-blowing. How did that happen?
Well, it was Scorsese was shooting Killers of the Flower Moon here in Oklahoma. And all actors, anytime there's a big, especially that or Twisters or any of the big films, especially the big like potential blockbuster or major motion pictures were coming, all the film people buzz about it. If there's going to be extra work for crew guys, or if actors are going to get a chance. This was different though, because Scorsese needed to use Oklahoma. That was the backdrop, and he shot it in the location. So you say Scorsese?
Is that actually correct? I say Scorsese.
Marty, I mean, I just call him, when I talk to him, when we talk, it's just Marty.
Oh. I think does that
get you a little bit though?
Yeah,
does that get you a little bit?
It does. Did you just go in and did you audition and say I play banjo?
No, they were looking for a band though. I was keeping my ear to the ground hoping that I would get cast, but also I didn't really.
So you knew it existed, that it was coming before you knew it was coming.
I think everybody kind of knew the movie was kind of going on, and they had been shooting already. So I sent them a video of me performing this Steve Martin comedy song, and I'm playing clawhammer. Because of that, they're like, that's the playing style, because it's this old playing style. The music directors for that scene that recorded the tracks saw that I could play that way, and that's how I got cast. They shot a lot of stuff that they didn't end up using. But I'm in it. You can see me for a little bit.
Now tell really quick, you have told me, but I want to share this, that not only did Martin Scorsese talk to you, but also another detail was that you had to play without actually touching the banjo, but look like you were. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, we did a lot of different versions of it. We filmed our scene multiple times for the long shots and stuff, and we just sat on the porch playing this track over and over again. But then they got a shot of us, a lock-off shot. Then they filmed each of us individually. He shot so much stuff. But the time that he came out to film us, Scorsese walks up, and he's a little guy, and so it's there's the camera is here, and he's right here, and then I'm right, I don't know, I'm about 6-7 feet away from him. He's sitting in this little chair watching, and we're all sitting there, and he's like, banjo boy, yes. I was like,
wow. Even that much is incredible.
He shook our hands. He shook all of our hands. And this is during, we were masking for COVID and stuff, but we would, take it off. So it was kind of to that phase where it's try to keep your mask on, guys. But it wasn't kind of everybody's scared of it all.
Yeah,
but you still had to follow procedure
shot with your mask on. So it was kind of
and I don't know.
Line.
What was funny though is we're playing to a track the whole time because it has to be consistent with what it was. So we were playing, and we actually learned to play the song, and oh man, we did it a million times, it seemed like. But then they needed to do a take of it where it was clean. That means there's just sound of the guy who's dancing. There's a guy who's drinking moonshine and dancing on the porch. That needed to be clean, or any dialogue that's being said needed to be clean. So we're sitting there, the camera's still on us, and we're all like fake playing. And Scorsese's sitting there watching us. And then afterwards he claps. And everybody's
That's
like,
amazing.
oh, and then everybody else claps too. Like, oh yeah, good job. And I'm thinking, what do we
Wow,
do?
that's amazing. If you want to support the Ginge Show, please like and subscribe. It is independently financed, aka I am financing it myself. So a like and subscribe really helps me out a lot, and it is free. If you are looking for a DJ for your wedding, private party, corporate event, the club, whatever, I'm your guy. Hit me up at thegingeshow.com or at The Ginge Show on all social media. All right, back to the episode. Please like and subscribe. Yesterday, you kind of just mentioned you just kind of threw this out there. And I was like, Lucas, do not tell me any more about this story because this has to be in the podcast, okay? So in college, to say that I was obsessed with John Mayer is an understatement. I can't even come up with a parallel. I mean, it wasn't creepy, but it was, he was my biggest influence musically. Even when I sing now, which is not as much as then, you can definitely hear the John Mayer in it. So I just threw out his name yesterday and you were like, oh yeah, I got to tour his studio. So go ahead and tell this.
Kind of. Well, here's what's interesting.
Even that makes me jealous.
And I'm still one-upping you without even trying. That's what's
I know.
This is what's beautiful, Jay. It's not about one-upping. It's our worlds literally being together. Listen to this. If you didn't know, so John Mayer has purchased the historic lot in Los Angeles. This was a sound studio that was famous for recording all kinds of stars, including We Are the World. If you ever saw the music video where all the stars are singing We Are the World, that was filmed there. He bought this studio.
What is the studio called?
Originally, it was Charlie Chaplin's movie studio. That's what it was built at. So there were sound stages and stuff. But in the past few years, a couple decades, it was owned by the Jim Henson studio, by the family of the Jim Henson, of the Muppets. Atop the gate that you come in, next to it, there's this big statue of Kermit the Frog dressed as Charlie Chaplin. If you saw the Jason Segel movie they did with the Muppets in 2011, it's all about them trying to get the Muppets back together. They filmed some of it there and pretended that was the Muppet studio lot. There's like a rusted Kermit hanging on it. That was all filmed there at that same studio that John Mayer now owns.
Did you meet him? Or did you...
John Mayer?
Yeah.
Johnny? Yeah.
I think you're messing with me.
We just had a call today.
Okay.
He's here right now. Hey,
you toured the studio.
Johnny, come over. Johnny, you want to come over and say hi to... You don't? You don't? He's really not... Don't say that about him. He can sing just like you.
Okay, so it wasn't that. If he was like recording a song or something when you were there, I would literally...
I don't think he was there at all. It was early in it, and I don't even know if he offices there or what, but
it's still pretty amazing. So my story with meeting John Mayer was I had him sign like a guitar strap or something like that. Was my first time meeting him. I waited till I saw his tour bus. The second one was much better. So this was in Germany, and I got to drive to his concert on the Autobahn, which already was amazing. Wait, was this when
were you a student doing the study abroad program?
Yes, I was. So when we were there, with my college girlfriend, we drove to see him at a show that was for like a radio station over there, something like that, but you couldn't buy tickets. Okay, so we waited from his like dressing room area to the stage. He had to walk there. So he walked there one time for the practice. I got a picture with him. It was amazing. We just stayed there. So when he came back the second time, he came with a couple of people, a girl, and when he went up to right about before he was going to get on stage, he said, "Do you guys not even have tickets?" He was very, very nice when he took the picture. He was really cool. And he yelled down to us, "Do you guys not even have tickets?" And I was like, "No. We just came to meet you." And he was like, "Guys, all right, she's going to come down and get you guys. Come in and watch the show." And there's even a crazier detail. The girl that came down and got us was Heidi Klum, the famous supermodel. That was his girlfriend at the time. So we stood the whole time with her and watched the show. Wow. Is that not incredible?
That's really big.
That was amazing. The picture I got with him was so cool. He like kind of flirted with my girlfriend a little, and which was
man, that's so cool.
Is that not amazing? So
but in your head, but like I can only guess, as cool as it was and as exciting it was, and how it could be unbelievable. You also have a little bit at the back of your head of being like, yes, this makes sense. I mean, that's how it
goes with what we were saying. And in my mind, I felt justified of like, dude, I have been such a fan that you picked the right person to do this for.
And it's like kind of like out of a movie or something like that.
Definitely. Tell me some details about, you have some work with the Muppets that is coming. Is that correct?
Well, I've been fortunate to have met my hero, just like you met John Mayer. I met Kermit the Frog, and I love Kermit. Whenever we were in college together, I was always like, I've just always been a Kermit guy. Because of a friendship with Heather Henson, because of my work with the Banjo Museum, and becoming friends with Matt Vogel, who's Kermit's right-hand man, let's just say. He gives Kermit a hand. He's been performing Kermit for almost 10 years now.
Wow.
And he's a charming, great, very talented, and he's a musician too, just a talented guy. He's also Big Bird and the Count and a lot of legacy characters. He directs a lot of Sesame episodes and pieces, and it's just a great guy that we just kind of connected and became kind of friendly with. And we did a video for the Banjo Museum where Kermit and I are talking about, which blew my mind alone. They were wanting me to do this video for the museum, kind of give an overview of the history of the banjo for kids. And I was like, man, it'd be so cool if Kermit would make a cameo in it and just like say, hey, I'm Kermit. And that was it. And so after I met Matt, I reached out and was like, hey, do you think there's a chance? The guy that was writing, Jim Lewis, who's now retired, but he's written for the Muppets for years. He worked when Jim Henson was still alive and did things with them all the way back in those days. Wrote a script, and he's like, well, how much do you want Kermit in this video? And I was like, well, I don't want to overstep. He's like, Lucas, I get paid by the minute, so let's put Kermit in this thing. So Kermit and I co-host this little video called Banjo Roots that plays on a loop at the American Banjo Museum. At the very end of it, Kermit's like, I got some banjo practicing to do. Dun, 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 dun.
Which there is a Kermit playing the banjo right over your head in the background. So
oh, yes. Yeah,
you can tell the inspiration there. Okay, so go on.
And when they filmed that, so they filmed Kermit on a soundstage, and I was here, and Matt was like, hey, can you, on camera, he was like, Lucas, just record, what Kermit would play for the ending. I trust you. Steve Martin did a video of himself playing the banjo out in the woods, and Matt saw it and said, hey, I think Kermit should do this. Would you record the banjo for it? And that blew my mind, and he said, we'll see if Disney likes it, and if they like it, then cool, and if not, you can't play it for anybody, but you'll know that you did it. And I'm like, that's great. How much do I have to pay you for this opportunity? But they liked it, and they kept asking me to do a few other things, and over time I became kind of they call me the, I don't know how official this is, but Kermit's banjo advisor. So if Kermit's going to play the banjo, if they're going to do something special with Kermit and the banjo, sometimes I'll be brought in for it. And that was really cool. About a little over a year ago in March, Willie Nelson and Kermit played at the beginning of the Luck Reunion final night, and he had Kermit sing Rainbow Connection with him, and so I got to be there playing banjo while Kermit and Willie are out on stage. I'm hiding behind a curtain, blinking away. And it was really cool. And it was really funny because all these sound guys and these guys that have been on the road with Willie Nelson forever were all like crying because Kermit was there, and they're like, "This is incredible." Well, and they're like, they had just worked with the Beach Boys. They had just met did something with John Stamos and all this stuff. They're like, we've worked with the Beach Boys and Dolly Parton and the Eagles and everybody, but Kermit's the biggest star because he was around when we were kids, and he's going to be around after we're gone.
So my first concert that I ever saw was the Beach Boys, and John Stamos was with them.
Was probably playing the drums for them. Did he drum for them?
What is crazy is he played every instrument on the stage. I don't think that people know his level of talent. And back in Full House, he was obsessed with the Beach Boys. I already knew that was like his character. But this was at Six Flags in Dallas.
They were like on the show regularly too. Yeah. They would have the Beach Boys like play themselves, like they just come out jamming at the house.
Yep. But he was literally with them, and he played drums, he played guitar, he sang one song.
And he still does stuff with them, evidently.
It's amazing. Yeah. But that was my first concert. So
and it was cool because I thought of you. I remember thinking of you while I was there because I was like, oh, that's so crazy, because I remember Jay telling me about how he saw I really did. I remember you telling me about how you saw him. I didn't know it was your first concert, though.
Yep, that was my first concert. My second one was Creed. So
pretty much same. Jay, you and I would have been really good on one of those like reality shows, like we were partnered up with like somebody that, because we would irritate each other, and we would like. We
could have done like The Amazing Race or something like that. And I legitimately think if reality TV had been as big when we were in college, I legitimately think we would have probably gone to some type of auditions. It just hadn't really exploded.
I feel like I probably would be too threatened by you to think that I'd want to do it. But in hindsight, I would go back and tell myself, this is what you should do.
I completely agree.
This would be so entertaining.
We have a different look. We would have made, I could see us on something like The Amazing Race, like yelling at each other, pouting for a few minutes, and then
still loving each other.
Absolutely.
I mean, at the end of it, we would always come back to it because you were bonded. I don't know, we were kind of like in this forced marriage, the four of us, to do this show, and you like, whatever happens. And we had some of those long road trips where everybody had their moment, and I
can remember some like quiet van rides for sure.
Oh yeah.
Aubrey was always the middle of it all. But that being said, I, looking back at it, remember definitely 75% love and getting along, and then maybe the 25% like a little mad at each other or whatever.
I'm glad you're thinking of it that way, because I see it completely different. I'm just kidding.
I'm going to interject a story. Do you remember that we went to a thrift shop one time and I found a North Face jacket with $15 in the pocket, and I still talked them down to 10, and it might have been more money.
I thought it was more than that, Jay.
It might have been
it was like
over $20.
No, I thought it was like $150.
No, it wasn't that much. It was
like a wadded up thing of cash, and I remember. I feel like I remember you going back and feeling like I need to go in and be honest with them, and then they said, "Oh, you know what? Thanks for being honest, but keep it."
I do not think I went back in and was honest. I think I thought I was. Maybe I did. Do you really think I did that?
You know, I believe that you did this whole time, but you probably just said you did.
I think there's a chance either way is true. But regardless, that has been one of the most epic things of my entire life on so many levels, because how cool is it to find the money? But the fact that I had the nerve to say, the zipper kind of sticks. Would you go down to like 20? It was definitely not 150. I know that for sure. Yes,
and somehow make money off of it.
Anyways, I just wondered if you remembered that.
I do remember that. I feel like that was a long trip.
That was very long.
I do want to come back to that. There's a part of that story I do want to revisit with you.
No, let's just do it. Let's do that right now.
I feel like on that trip, we took a trip. So this was like our third summer together, and we took like a long one. And the way these would work is we would visit like a couple camps to make it worth it. And we were driving in a van and staying at places. So Jay, this is like, so we were going through a few places, and we went through Tennessee, and we stayed at this house, and somehow you and I ended up having to share like a bed, and it was like they had a. Do you remember this?
I remember the bed.
They had like
for whatever reason.
They had a trundle bed that came out, and they put them side by side, which is weird because if you have two, then why don't you separate them so you have two twin beds? But no, they had them side by side. But I think it's because the room was so small. I don't know if I moved or something. But something woke you up just enough that you were like that thing where you didn't know where you are, you know when you wake up in a different place and you're kind of like
I still
confused.
Do that.
But Jay, I remember this so vividly. You started whimpering like a small child that was scared of a monster or something. Jay, I honestly remember you going,
Wow.
I promise.
True night
I was
terrors.
so irritated that finally I was like, Jay, we're in, and you're like, and you kick your leg forward, kick me right in the crotch. And I just remember like, Jay, oh, you idiot. We're sharing a bed. We're in Memphis. Stop acting like a baby.
Oh, man. Wow.
And then you like turned over and went back to bed. I don't even know if you woke up at all.
But
that was the same trip.
So, has any movie ever really scared you? Like really scared you?
Oh, we actually just watched it again the other night, and I'm 44, and it like in the middle of the night I thought about it again. It's just one of many. But do you remember the movie The Others with Nicole Kidman? and I don't want to spoil it at all, but the whole idea is it's this family, and I think they're being haunted, and they have to live in the dark because their kids are allergic to light, and there's these faces that show up, and then you start to find this kind of little big twist ending when you find out what is really going on. And I love that movie because it's psychological, but there's some things that kind of scare me in that. Now, when I was a kid, things that really scared me were like the monster movie stuff. I don't like slash, gore, stuff like that. I think it's gross. The Gremlin movie was really big when I was like in kindergarten, first grade, and we watched it with our kids the other night, and they were just like,
"Does it hold up?
Awful."
Yeah,
and I was like, "It's actually pretty genius."
I think the reason,
but for years, I would pull the shower curtain back every time I would go into the bathroom, all the way through, just as a habit. Like in case there's a gremlin, I would say in case there's anybody, it was always a gremlin. That was what was hiding.
Yeah, I think I actually asked that question because I wanted to share mine. I watched Saving Private.
That sounds very on brand for you.
Thank you. So I watched Saving Private Ryan the other night.
I want to ask you, what is your favorite thing about you? And then I want you to ask me. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I was watching Saving Private Ryan, and that movie horrified me as a kid. And I don't think this is a spoiler because it happens in the first like 30 seconds. There is a scene where they're what? Okay. Anyways, there's a scene where they're on the beach, and I think it's Normandy, and they just like open the little things on the boat, and everybody just gets plowed down. Like, no exaggeration. Each boat had maybe 30 people, and like one person would make it off the boat. And for whatever reason, going to war has scared me, because you literally in that era just got drafted and you just had to go over there and do that. I don't know why, but that absolutely horrified me earlier, and it still does. Okay.
What a mature fear to have, though. Mine was so silly compared to, like, that's a real valid fear.
I didn't think it was, though. I didn't think it was till I watched it again, and it scared me so bad. Okay, so what do you think is the most important social media?
I think Twitter at one point was always the go-to to find out what's breaking, like what's happening right now. Instagram and Facebook became staggered in being catered to your interests and stuff, and I think Twitter has turned into that. But there was a time where you could just go to Twitter and see what's breaking right now. Something happened, if some celebrity died, or there's a scandal, or there's a terrible event. It's usually negative, and that whole thing has gone to waste. So I don't even want to give it the credibility.
Well, when I talk to younger people, they all say TikTok. In my mind, it goes Facebook is the oldest, Instagram medium, and then TikTok youngest. But everybody,
you mean
I've
like
just been
in
asking
age of
people,
how they use it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if other people think it's kind of that simple, because at the end of the day, the most common thing that kids want to be is influencers. It's not number one on the list, but it's like number 3, 4, 5, something like that. And so it's just a really interesting topic to get onto.
I would kind of say YouTube, because it seems to have crossed out of, I don't think of it usually as a social media outlet anymore, as much as I think of it as like another screen. Like there's television, there's movies, there's YouTube. They're all kind of equals now, because you can watch all those things there as well. But it's in the moment. Everybody has access to it. Anybody can put their work on it. So I think the potential again is what I think of. But again, that makes me kind of old. But I probably use Instagram the most.
This was going to be my next question. It is written on the piece of paper. It's not paper, it's digitally. I was going to ask you, do you think they should go back to calling it Twitter? And was it stupid that they tried to name it X? And you said it. Yes. That is so annoying to me. And it's Elon Musk that did it. I don't really have an opinion on him per se. But the fact that no one calls it X. Like, people always still call it Twitter. It drives me crazy.
They try to. So I'll do one of the features that I do on the morning show is Feel Good News, and you'll have a lot of packages that you read, and they try to read it that way. Like, local authorities posted their congratulations on X. I was like, I'll always be like,
weird.
On Twitter.
Okay.
On what was
it's
it's like what Prince was so defined by being Prince. Whenever he changed his name to the artist formerly known as Prince, mostly because you couldn't describe it. That's what we do, and so I will say that like the social media website formerly known as Twitter. You know,
that's smart. It drives me crazy, and it doesn't work in sentences.
It was genius because you could say, "I tweeted this."
100%.
Tweet, Twitter, it all worked. I X'd this.
I know, and I have made so many bets with people that it would go back to Twitter, but. Anyways, I could not agree more. We said the name Elon Musk, or I did. Would you go to space if you could?
Oh, I think I'd like to say yes. Depending on who the company was and stuff like that. But no, and the main reason is I want to experience weightlessness. I've always dreamt of flying, and I feel like that's the closest way of feeling like actually being able to fly. Like I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. I loved Peter Pan when I was really little. Like the whole never wanting to grow up. I wanted to fly.
We were just talking about motive. We were just
talking about this last night, and it seems like anytime that somebody asks if you have a super ability, what would it be? And we had a bunch of teens over last night at our house doing like a group study night, and I asked all of them, what would be your superhero if you could choose one? And I was like, I know the two main ones. I know what some people say. And they're all wrong. And the people always first say invisibility. I'm like, you're wrong. Why would you want to be invisible? Flight.
Yeah.
That's just me. But there's a lot of people that want to be invisible.
That one over.
Like, why would you want to be invisible?
Well, I think it's because you could see things that
maybe,
but it feels closer to creepy actually when you think what the motives would be.
Exactly. When people say like, "Oh, definitely invisible," like what? Because here's the truth: the only reason.
I'm starting to realize it. So, what's your biggest pet peeve? I've been asking people this. I don't know why it is so interesting to me, but it's not an easy question to answer right away. But if you had to answer, give a couple answers, answer. What do you think?
I think the first thing that pops into my head is anybody that disrespects somebody else.
Sure. Yeah.
And not just in the sense of like be nice to each other, but like that as an adult, I see better examples of children being knowing and being thoughtful and being respectful than I see adults that now it seems more and more so are justifying their stance to think that they are not only supposed to, but they're entitled to make somebody else feel bad. And maybe I think of it that way because I've worked in media long enough that I will get told ugly things by people still. And they would say, a lot of people say, that's just part of the job. And true, but to that I want to say, just because it's part of the job doesn't mean that it's okay. I used to tweet funny, sarcastic things toward like the Kardashians, making fun of them because it was just like something to do that. We came from the comedy in the late 90s of sarcasm. David Spade set that whole thing up, and then like Chandler on Friends, that whole idea in Seinfeld, that whole comedy of like almost kind of being mean, but you'd never really say those things to people's faces. And Twitter became a whole thing. I just remember like writing, trying to be funny to try to get attention. Try to say something funny, make fun of the Kardashians, and who cares? Because like, they're also humans. But it's like, but when I realized that like that doesn't help anybody. Yeah, it's not making me a better person. And is it worth it to get a like or a click?
Well, and I was watching a story with a professional athlete. It was something on Netflix, and they had seen several comments that random people wrote, and it was on Twitter, and it does make it back to them sometimes, and they have the exact same feelings. I know that Post Malone stopped doing social media period his first year of being famous for this exact reason. And it just like you said, they are people. Kardashians, like, but oh man, are we doing it right now? Anyways, something you said too, I think that kids are being taught that a lot more and are more respectful and tolerant of each other now. That probably wraps us up. You have a show called Lazy Circles that is hilarious. It's on YouTube. Is there other places that people can watch it?
I think that's the easiest way to access it. It was on Amazon Prime, and every once in a while we'll get somebody that shows interest in having us do more. So we'll see. It's always on the table.
Oh, but, that's gonna happen.
You think so?
100%. It's just too funny not to. And I think like you have the character specifically, what's her name?
Oh, Nadine Chitwood?
Yes, you have that one down on a level that just something more is going to happen. It's just too funny. So
that's very nice of you to say that.
People should go watch that. And then the American Banjo Museum, what's your official title there?
Outreach and Promotion.
Okay, and it's really cool. If you're in Oklahoma City, you should definitely go by and see it. I have not been there, but I've just seen your social media, and it's just really cool. It's one of those things that's kind of random, but I know would be super interesting to people even that don't play the banjo. And I think things like that end up being the more fun stuff, things that you don't know as much about.
I love the banjo, and I was playing the banjo, and I was told about this place, and even I was kind of like, oh, there's a banjo museum? Okay, maybe I'll go down there sometime. I had no idea the state-of-the-art facility. I didn't know the rich history of the banjo, its African origins, its placement in pop culture, and that it's all on display here, from the beautiful instruments, but also we've got Steve Martin's banjo he played in the 70s. That I listened to that inspired me to want to play is sitting out there. We have Kermit holding a banjo from the Muppet movie. We've got the banjo they used in the new Bob Dylan movie that came out, the Timothy Chalamet biopic, A Complete Unknown. Ed Norton plays Pete Seeger in that, and we have the banjo that he played in that, and so many more. About 300, almost 400 instruments on display. And it's really the only museum like this in the whole world, so it's been kind of a cool place, this beacon for not just banjo players, but musicians, all professional musicians that want to find out about it. It has such an interesting place in history. So people might walk in skeptical, and then they spend a whole day here just soaking it all in. That's what happened with me. I started doing news stories here, and I loved it so much I just stayed. So.
Yeah, I'm going to link in this to Lazy Circles because I want people to watch it. I mean, unless you would rather me link to something else, but I think that's the thing.
I would really like it if you link it to my timeshare. I'm really hurting. I need to sell this land.
I live by Branson's. You cannot fathom how much I hear of the guy saying, if you're trying to get out of your timeshare contract, hit me up at...
Should I change?
Serious. I mean,
should I change my shtick to a reverse mortgage or something like that? Is that
apparently the get out of the timeshare is just as just the actual timeshare. So.
I think it's like tobacco. It's like the same company that's trying to get you to quit is making money so they can get you to start, and they can get just like the timeshare. You need to get out of that timeshare. No, would you like to buy one? Yeah, and then come see me in a month.
That was what a good way to end right there. Talk of a timeshare. We did it, Lucas. Thank you so much for being on the show. You are my first one to do digitally, or whatever you would call this. And you spent time yesterday helping me put this together as well. And here's fingers crossed it actually works. Because can you imagine if I had to try and air this where people are only looking at me and hearing the sound?
Well, hopefully they can see all the great things that I'm doing over here on this side.
I love you. We are...
Love you too, man.
All right. Bye, buddy.
It's the